My name is Coach Cailah, and in this video, we're going to review intermittent fasting and what all the fuss is about. Make sure you subscribe to me on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram.
Extra fat and lies.
What if I told you that the way that you're eating is what is causing you to gain weight? Now, it doesn't count if you know you're eating like crap, but what if you think that you're really eating healthy? What if that, you're healthy, is what's causing you to gain weight? The extra fat, most of us are walking around with 5 or more pounds of excess fat that we really want or need to get rid of. In this video, I'm going to explain A, how to get rid of that extra fat, B, how to lose 5 pounds or more of fat in about 14 days, and C, what intermittent fasting is and how it all plays together. Mounting research is showing that not only has our government lied to us about what eating healthy is, but just about everything else that we've learned about eating healthy isn't quite what we thought it was. We're going to discuss 5 to 6 meals a day, portion sizes, and fat. Eating 5 to 6 meals a day is not what we thought it was. Now, we've been taught, myself included, that when we eat 5 to 6 meals a day, we can maintain homeostasis, we can maintain our blood sugar levels. But that's not necessarily what we want. And also, homeostasis does not come from just blood sugar, okay? So this is the process of food when we eat and how our bodies respond. Enter our meal. We have a cheeseburger with fries, okay? So high carbs from the bun itself and also, of course, from the fries. What happens is when we take that in, our blood sugar will spike because of the carbohydrates. Now, our bodies, being one of the most amazing creations God has ever made, are going to respond intelligently to that. Our bodies will secrete what is called insulin. Now, insulin is a storage hormone. Our body noticed, hey, there's extra energy going around. I'm going to grab that energy from the bloodstream. I'm going to put it into the muscle, into the liver to be used for energy. So again, blood sugar spikes. Insulin is released. High amounts of insulin are released to grab that blood sugar and to store it in our muscles or in our liver to be used as energy. Again, bodies are intelligent. Now, when we don't use that excess energy, that's what becomes a problem. All right. Now, everyone loves pasta, all that fun stuff. When I ran track at University of Dayton, all right, we would have a day or two before our track meets, we'd have pasta, lasagna, something high carb, because that is what we wanted to happen. We wanted our blood sugar to rise, we wanted insulin to spike, and to grab that glucose and to store it for use during the track meet. When I'm running 400s, when I'm running whatever else, we wanted to have energy that our body can grab and utilize, and actually utilize when we needed it to. But the thing is that most people aren't running track. Most people aren't competitive athletes, and most people don't exercise, train, or aren't as active as what their plates are, as what food they're consuming. So the issue is we are taking in excess energy and not expending enough energy so that we won't get fat. Now, all of those excess carbs, they don't just continually become stored in muscle or glycogen, all right, in muscle or liver. But what happens is our muscles, they can only store so much glucose, which is stored in the form of carbohydrate or glycogen. Same thing, our liver can only store so much glycogen. Now, when our liver is full of glycogen, when our muscles are full of glycogen, what happens is that, again, insulin is still released because it's not just going to allow high amounts of glucose in the bloodstream. And we unfortunately don't just excrete what we don't use like we do for protein. But what happens is that insulin is going to say, hey, I am super determined to make sure I'm going to have this energy to be used later, all right? So it's going to take that excess glucose, that glycogen, and it's going to find a fat cell and store it as fat. Fat has unlimited amounts of storage for glycogen and for fat itself. This is where you see things like my 600-pound life or those extremely large people that have excess energy. They're not fat. They just have a whole bunch of energy that they can use, right? So again, when your body stores that fat as excess energy, it's going to start storing around the midsection, and then it'll get to our trouble areas that each of you, and I also have. So if we can stop eating 5 to 6 meals a day, what we're going to do is decrease the amount of excess glucose and glycogen that needs to be stored. Number one. But number two, also, it takes 4 to 6, sometimes 8 hours for our bodies to actually utilize the meal that we took in. So if I wake up and I eat my breakfast at 7 a.m., it might be until 12 or later until all of that is already cleared from my system. But based on this rule, like 3 hours a day, 3 hours in between meals or 2 hours in between, I would have eaten at 7, at 9 or 10, right? At 12 and at 1. So knowing that, hey, if I can change how my body utilizes energy and not have excess, then what I can do is utilize the energy that I already have stored from last year, from last month, from last week. So instead of eating 5 to 6 meals a day, where we are putting ourselves in an energy surplus, why not eat less and utilize the energy that is already stored? Enter intermittent fasting. Now, intermittent fasting is literally a period of fasting and a period of feeding. Now, let's take it back real quick to all of our ancestors, regardless of the color of our skin. Our hunting parties would go out, they'd kill something, we'd come home, they'd smash it, they'd eat. So we'd have periods throughout our existence where we feasted on food. But there have been many times where famine has set in, but also, let's just say the hunting party couldn't come back for a few days, and we did not have food. So our human bodies are naturally prepped and primed for periods of feeding and periods of fasting. So intermittent fasting is literally a scheduled plan of feeding and of fasting. Now, how does that help? What is the purpose of our bodies, right? So the benefits of intermittent fasting are as follows. Let's look at A, blood sugar regulation. Now, we know that blood sugar is already tied to type 2 diabetes. So if I can regulate how high my blood sugar spikes, then I can regulate my type 2 diabetes, and overall, most people on this program, they can decrease or get rid of type 2 diabetes at all. So again, if I stop eating that often, I can allow my body to clear out all the excess carbohydrates and sugars and all that good stuff and utilize it as energy when I become more active. All right, so we know blood sugar regulation is awesome. We also have inflammation and oxidative stress. We know that cancer cells are already in everyone's body. It's just it's there. It's a part of our bodies. But the things that turns regular cancer cells into the negative cancer that we know of is oxidative stress, is free radicals. So, and those are also caused by inflammation. So if I can decrease oxidative stress, if I can decrease free radicals, and I can decrease overall inflammation, which is one of the root causes of all diseases, I can eliminate so many potential diseases that I could have just by changing how I eat, changing what time of day I eat, and again, what I'm eating too. So we got blood sugar, we've got inflammation. Let's also look at human growth hormone. Now, it sounds scary, but it's not. Human growth hormone is something that is created and secreted naturally within your cells through your own body. It's secreted by your pituitary gland, which looks like, the thing back your throat, your uvula. It's that, but it's in your brain, right? It's secreted by the pituitary gland. Now, intermittent fasting, let me say this. With human growth hormone, what that does is it helps to build muscle. It is a key catalyst in protein synthesis. It's also found to be a catalyst in improving bone mineral density. So when I am not eating, my body can build muscle, it can build protein, and it can repair itself. So those that intermittent fast for 16 hours or more, women have seen a 1,300% increase throughout the day when they are intermittent fasting. Men have seen a 2,000% increase as shown by research. So if I want to gain muscle, I want to tone up and get ripped, I want to look at doing intermittent fasting because again, increases protein synthesis, increases bone mineral density. All right, so we've got that, but also let's look at digestive health. All right, so think about your organs, right? They are muscles, particularly your digestive system, from your stomach to your small intestine to your large intestine, your gallbladder, all of that. Those are organs, but they have muscles inside them. Now imagine if I just squatted all day long. If I'm just sitting here, my muscles are still working, still moving, eventually my body will break down. My muscles will get sore, my muscles will get tired, my bones will start to wear, and I cannot fuel or repair myself properly because I never gave myself a rest. I never gave myself a break. Now let's look at your guts. It's the same thing. If you are eating 5 to 6 meals a day, or even large meals, or snacking, whatever it is, when does your digestive system, when do those muscles, when do those organs ever have a chance to just rest and relax? Think about that. So intermittent fasting will help, number one, improve digestive health, because you are allowing your body to relax, allowing your digestive system to clear itself and just chill for just a second. When your body is processing food, it cannot repair itself, not in that manner. But also we can look at things like candida, things like your microbiome and your general gut health. If we are continuing to fuel ourselves with carbohydrates, but also fuel ourselves very frequently, we can never clear out those things. We can never balance out the positive and the negative bacteria that we have in our body. If we continue to work, if it continues to move, it cannot heal itself, all right? Now also, we look at the anti-aging process. We all want to hear and find out about, these miracle foods and these superfoods and these things. But what if you just didn't eat and allowed your body to do what it does naturally? Think about who made our bodies. God made our bodies. So that way, if we allow our bodies to do what they do naturally, they can heal and regenerate itself. So there's a process called autophagy. So when we don't eat, okay, when we give ourselves a break, our bodies can actually begin to kill off the bad cells, the old cells. So we have a new fresh cell or a healthy cell that can literally consume and eat and then churn into waste some older cells or some dying cells or some disease cells or free radicals. That process is called autophagy, and that is what can help remove wrinkles, remove lines. That will help you clear skin. But again, the anti-aging process is something that your body naturally has in it. Look at Methuselah. Bruh man lived for 900 some years. There are many people back in the day who followed intermittent fasting, again via religion or via just natural process of their environment, who lived several years longer than what we do now. Hormone function is also one of the other many things that are increased or improved by intermittent fasting. But also brain function. A lot of times we need coffee, we need energy drinks, we need this, we need that, because our brains are so foggy, it's so hard to focus, it's so hard to continue to think and do whatever. But what if, again, our bodies can do that naturally by giving ourselves a break and allowing us to utilize the fuel that we've already stored? Now, this is how it works when it comes to brain function. If I don't eat, all right, my body will not starve itself. My body will utilize stored forms of energy. So if I do not consume excess food, I can go and find out, hey, there's a little bit of energy here in this muscle. There's more energy here in this liver. You know what? And I can even bypass that once those storages are utilized. Then I can start utilizing, hey, there's a little bit of energy here. So when our body begins to break down stored carbohydrates, that's great, regular functions. But when it passes those storage sites that we talked about for muscle and for your liver, then it gets to the fat, all right? We can only burn fat and utilize fat after our bodies have burned and utilized all excess glycogen storages. Now again, once we start breaking down fat as fuel turns into what we call ketone bodies, all right? Now, these ketone bodies are actually one of the preferred fuel source for your brain. There are no really fuel sources that your brain prefers outside of ketones. Yes, it can function on carbohydrates because we taught it to. We've utilized it majorly. But what if we turned it back on the way it was supposed to be? What if that light went on in our brain because, hey, now it's got what it really wanted, all right? So again, ketone bodies, which are the byproduct of breaking down fats for fuel. This is what can allow your body and your brain to function so much more clearly, so much more rapidly. So brain function is improved by intermittent fasting because when you stop eating that much, your body will break down carbohydrates and then it'll start to break down your fats. Those fats can be used as fuel for your brain, but also for your entire body. So because I'm utilizing stored fuel that is fat, my brain utilizes that much easier, it's much cleaner. It's like diesel versus regular watered down stuff. All right, now that we've reviewed intermittent fasting and the benefits and the purpose of it, let's talk about how to actually do it. Now, most people are going to go on a 12 to 16 hour fasting window. This means that you do not eat for 12 to 16 hours, all right, or even more. There are some that can go on a 24-hour fast or reaching that time, Okay, there are also a whole much more science and benefits that come from 24 hours or even 48-hour fasting. But we won't get there in our intermittent fasting video. All right, so an ideal thing, one thing I do is from 9 to 12. All right, so after 9 p.m. I try my best not to eat. So I will fast from 9 p.m., wake up in the morning, drink a lot of water, take my vitamins, go to work, do what I need to do, then I don't eat again until after 12 noon. So my fasting window is from 9 to 12. Again, you can have anything between 12 hours and 16 hours. Human growth hormone is ideally secreted and at night. So between 12 a.m. and then 2 p.m., right? Those are the highest and the most peaking windows for HGH to be secreted by your body. So if you're looking to build a lot of muscle, try and incorporate those fasting windows within your fasting period, okay? But again, you can do it whenever you want. It does have to be a continuous time for fasting. And then your feeding windows are going to be, again, 8 to 12 hours. The smaller your feeding window, typically the better results that you'll see. Same as with the longer your fasting window. Now, what do I break my fast with? You do not want to break your fast with high carbs. You do not want to have pancakes. You don't want to have waffles. You want to have that, a sandwich. You don't want to break your fast with high carbs. Because again, the first thing that I told you that is going to be the best benefit is lower your blood sugar. So if I break my fast with a high carbohydrate meal, I'm going to immediately disrupt the benefits of intermittent fasting. So what you want to do is you want to eat food that would allow you to continue on as long as possible. So the best thing that you can break your fast with is high fat, low carb, moderate protein. All right, again, fat is an amazing source of fuel. We'll get there in a second. So a great meal that you can do is like eggs and bacon and some coffee, low carb, right? So we want to make sure we're using 0-calorie sweetener, natural sweetener. I prefer stevia. Fat is fuel. You may be saying, well, Coach, I thought and I was taught and I was raised to believe that, fat is bad. I want to go on a low fat diet. I want to go on a low calorie diet. No, let's think about this. Every single cell in your entire body is cased and made out of fat. 30 to 40% of every cell is fat. Your hormones are created from proteins and fats. There are certain vitamins, vitamin A, E, D, and K, that can only be synthesized within the presence of fat. So if our bodies naturally put such a high emphasis on fat, why would I ever want to limit the amount of fat that I take in? When you put it that way, does it make sense? So let's compare. If we look at a low calorie diet versus a high fat diet, the people that are on the high fat diet, A, they will adhere to more, but also B, brain function is better, gut health is better. There are lower blood sugar. There's so many better things and also they will lose weight. But if we look at the people that go on a low calorie diet, it's hard to adhere because your body needs fuel. So if we start looking at, all right, carbohydrates and proteins, I can receive 4 units of energy, right? 4 calories per gram that I eat. So if I eat 100 grams of carbohydrates, I'm going to get 400 calories of energy, all right? Now, fat, again, is the best fuel source. Fat itself has 9 grams of energy, or 9 calories per gram that I eat. So if I eat 100 grams of fat, I'm going to have 900 calories. But also, since fat makes you fuller, you're going to eat less. So if I can't eat, let's say, 20 grams of fat versus the 100 grams of carbohydrates, my overall calories might be the same, but I'm going to feel fuller longer. I'm going to have a better source of fuel, and I'm going to be able to prepare and repair my body. So when we look at how to break your fast, you want to break your fast with a high fat meal, moderate protein, okay? Eggs and bacon, omelets are going to be freaking awesome. Throw some butter on there, it's great. But also, you want to keep your calories or your carbohydrates low throughout the day. If you want to have carbs, the best time to eat carbs is in the middle of the day, so at lunchtime. So break your fast with high fat, low carbs. If you want to have carbs, it's okay to eat them during your lunch period, but your dinner should still be low carb, high fat. The reason is same purpose as breaking the fast with high fat. We want to extend and we want to prolong the amount of time your body can be in that intermittent fasting state, okay? Intermittent fasting isn't just about the calories. Calories will come to when it comes to our digestive health and when it comes to allowing our gut to kind of have a break. When we look at the sugar, when we look at the carbohydrates, the inflammation, the free radicals, all of that revolves around excess carbs. So if I eat my dinner high fat, moderate protein, low or no carbohydrates, I'm going to have so many more benefits without being super hungry. Last thing we'll hit on is hunger. All right, there's a thing called ghrelin. All right, we have ghrelin and we have leptin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. Leptin is a satiety hormone, okay? Our hormones are released when our bodies think we need something. So ghrelin, I'm going to be hungry at a certain time of day. Every day, because I break my fast around 12 noon, I'm going to be hungry at 12 because I have prepped my body and my body knows I don't need to worry about anything else until 12 o'clock. I'm going to be ready. What that does is that allows my digestive system to be ready, to be prepared to take in food. Now again, ghrelin is just a signal, but also, have you ever noticed that hunger comes in waves? You might be super hungry, let's say you don't eat, and then you're like, oh, okay, that was cool. When you start intermittent fasting, this is the only thing you need to be ready for. Your first 1 to 3 days is going to be pretty tough. You're going to be pretty hungry because again, your body has to readjust to the time frames of what you should eat and what you were eating. So it is totally natural. It is totally okay to be hungry. Just make sure that you drink lots of water. Make sure that when you do eat a high-fat diet. Now, if you start to get headaches, sometimes it will happen. If you can push past it for the first 1 or 3 days, then you won't experience it again. But if you can't, it's okay. Break your fast with fat. If you need to start off with an 8-hour fasting window versus a 12-hour, it's okay. Build yourself up to it. The best thing about intermittent fasting is that it is an easy tip that can have long-lasting and amazing results. Just skip breakfast. It's the easiest thing to do. Make sure that you stick to your intermittent fasting plan of 12 to 16 hours. I may do a video later about a 24-hour fast and how that affects your body. But make sure on intermittent fasting, you don't just skip breakfast. Watch what you're eating as well. Stay low carb, high veggies, high fiber, high fat, moderate protein, and I promise in 14 days, you're gonna drop at least 5 pounds, especially if you're a bigger person. Even the smaller folks, you're gonna drop some good weight on this intermittent fasting plan. My name is Coach Cailah, and here was intermittent fasting and what the big fuss was about.